Welcome back. Thank you for clicking in, tuning in, and dropping out. Um, yes, on the subject of Riffmaster. The spirits have informed me that a lot of you want more examples of riffs, so as to get a very holistic idea of exactly what a riff is. Okay, because sometimes it's better to show than describe. So my neighbor is home. I'm gonna have to keep it kind of quiet. It's Saturday night, about midnight, 11:41, just before midnight, Saturday night, and he's home because he lies to all of his girlfriends. That's why he's alone right now. That's my best guess. My best guess is that a guy named Willie Dixon. That's Willie Dixon. Rest his soul. Who died a few years ago. Willie Dixon is a riffmaster. He happened to be a bass. It's weird to speak about these people in past tense when you spend your whole life speaking of them in present tense because they're alive. So I'm going to speak of people as though they are alive, even if they aren't, because they're alive in my heart, and that's good enough. So Willie Dixon played bass, stand-up bass, and Willie Dixon was indeed a riffmaster, non-parallel riffmaster. Even Jimmy Page realized this a long time ago, back in 64, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1968 at least. Probably got it in the mid-60s, or heard it even way before that. Jimmy Page was a blues acolyte. He mastered the blues riffs early on while still in his teens. Anyway, so in the late 50s, look it up on Wikipedia, in the late 50s, Willie Dixon wrote a song called How Many More Years? He wrote it specifically for a guy named Chester Burnett, also known as Howlin' Wolf. So, How Many More Years? He wrote for Howlin' Wolf. Now, I'm not going to play it in the key it was recorded in, because my setup here is strange. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to play it in a different key, but same riff, transposed to a different key. You get the idea. Hang on. Where's my guitar? Ah! Okay. All right, microphone, pick this up. How many more years? You get the idea. Bum, bum, ba, da, da, bum. I don't want my guitars falling down on the floor. So yeah, it goes bum 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 bum. So, a few years later, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin did a slight variation on that riff, and the band kind of reinterpreted How Many More Years, and they called it How Many More Times on their first album, late 1968, or maybe early 68, I forget. Anyway, so I saved this on my DD3 because I like it. My neighbor's home. Hates the tambourine. But he's not going to hear this. He might feel it, but he won't hear it. How's that go, Bob? How many more years? the idea. So, Willie Dixon comes up with a brilliant riff, which he derived from brilliant riffs that came thousands of years before him. And he brought it all together, and they put it on the tape machine and played it on the African American radio back in the late 50s. How many more years? Led Zeppelin reinterpreted it and called it How Many More Times, and I think they forgot to give credit to Willie Dixon. I'm not sure. I think they did. Anyway, so everybody shares with everybody. You kind of got to be subtle. You kind of got to be kind of clever. Kind of got to change it around a little bit so people don't want to sue you. So if you're going to reinterpret a riff, make sure you make it your own, okay? Like, how am I going to make How Many More Times my own? Led Zeppelin reinterprets Willie Dixon. So I reinterpret Led Zeppelin, change the words a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. Classic example of a riff and its history. Willie Dixon, Led Zeppelin, right here, right now. Thus reinterpreted. Okay, Willie Dixon, riffmaster, supreme, a rock riffmaster. A lot of his riffs were adapted by many bands. A lot of English bands back in the 1960s and early 70s. Even Deep Purple, yeah. Okay. Deep Purple did Neil Diamond song called, I think, Hush Hush, yeah. Or Hush, yes, called Hush. Fantastic. Riff. Let me think of a riff. Alright, let me change this around to a different key, see what we can come up with. We're going to create a riff right here, right now. We're going to create a good riff, maybe even a great riff. So, I need you to clap your hands so we can make this riff happen, okay? And think good thoughts. Oops, what am I doing here? Oh, yeah. Put this back up. That's still going. I like that. I like it. Maybe I'll save it now. Maybe not. Alright, let's try a different key. Oh, here's a great idea. It's called a chordal riff. A lot of classic chordal riffs in blues and rock. I'll show you an example. Get the beat. Get the tempo. I mean, too slow. I agree. 1, 2, 3, 4. should be easier. Okay, here's a chordal riff that is an instant classic. All right, ready? I'm sure it's been done a million times by somebody. Let that fade out on my digital delay device, the Roland DD3, probably the best digital delay stomp box in the world, as far as I can tell. All right, the key of D, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, key of D, sorry. Oh, here's a riff from the 30s by a guy named Charlie Christian. All right, you ready for this? Okay, we got a little bit of time. Benny Goodman. That was his 7-11, Charlie Christian, sometime in the 1930s. Talk about riffmasters. All right, you'll let me know if you want more information on being a riffmaster.